Before I begin and before I introduce Byron, I just want to, thank him for his patience. The last 6 or 7 weeks, I think it was clear, at least it was clear to us, that Byron was always our first choice, and multiple interviews, and we stayed in touch. But in this business, when time plays out and things linger, I know there's some uncertainty and tension and testing of patience. So, here we are introducing Byron today as our head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. So thank you for sticking with us and being patient, the last 6 or 7 weeks. Before I introduce Byron, I'd like to introduce some of Byron's friends that came today to show some support. So John Black.
Baby B. Fucking wrong.
Let me say my last things, because once I give the microphone up to Irvin, I'll never see it again. So before I introduce Byron for the third time, let me hand the microphone to Irvin Magic Johnson.
Support our brother and our former teammate and champion, Byron Scott. And also we're here to support the Laker organization. This is a great day for all the former Lakers as well as Laker fans all over the world. And we're just excited for what Byron will bring to the table and get back to playing Laker basketball. And also we're happy that Jim and Jeannie and Mitch chose Byron as a coach. And I know Michael Thompson wanted to be here. He's supporting his son, so he wanted to be here. Coop almost came off his, he had surgery, and he told me to tell you he loved you and he'd be here if he hadn't had his surgery, as well as James Worthy is in Europe. So we're excited. We wish we could put on a uniform for you and help you, but but we're here supporting you, and we will support you throughout. And again, congratulations to the Laker organization. You chose the right guy.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm just thrilled to see my good friend and my running buddy, Mr. Scott here, back where he belongs. It's great that LA takes care of its own like this, and it's wonderful to see Byron back here. His confidence and leadership and knowledge of the game will definitely benefit this team, and hopefully this is a point where things start to turn around. So welcome home, B. We're going to be down there bothering you every night.
Yeah, I'd also like to add that I'm happy to see Byron with a tie to the past, but more importantly, a bridge to the future. I think he's the right guy, as Irvin and Kareem have eloquently stated, and other guys wanted to be here from Showtime, from your team, because of the high regard we all have for you. And we wish and hope for the best, and like Kareem said, we're going to be bothering you.
Buck, well, you don't know about these names: Buckaroo, the Silk Man, and the Cat. 3 of the greatest teammates, 3 of the greatest people that you'll ever meet, and drove me to be the best that I could be every day on the basketball court, and as a person as well. I'd like to thank my family, who's here obviously today. Emmanuel, my attorney, Gary Vitti, my main man from way back in the day. Jeannie and Jim have been fantastic. Mitch has been unbelievable, another teammate of mine. So the one thing I will say, this has been a dream of mine for so long. It's a dream come true to be here sitting here talking to you guys today and be introduced as the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. And as I told Mitch and Jim in our meetings, that the passion and the love that I have for this organization is second to none. The only thing that I regret is that Dr. Buss isn't here today, because he's somebody who showed a lot of love and a lot of confidence in me back in the day, and a guy that you could call at any time, a guy that would call you at any time, and you could talk to him about everything: life, basketball, money, investing, anything. And I just wish he was here today. But as I told Jim and I told Jeannie, I'm going to do everything in my power to make those guys proud, make the Bus family proud, and do everything I can to bring this team back to where we know it should be. This organization is all about championships, period. We don't look at Western Conference finals, Western Conference championships. We look at championships. And we know we have some work ahead of us, but I'm excited. Just thrilled to death. I'm eager, and just ready to get to work. Just ready to get to work. I know it's going to be a challenge, but I look forward to it. I love challenges anyway, so this is going to be fun. Want to thank Mitch again for his due diligence, and Jim as well. They want to thank me for my patience, but I've always been a very patient guy, so I just had to get out of town for a few days just to relax from all the fans who were asking me all the questions every single day. But, patience is a virtue, and it's well worth it. And I'm glad to be back with this organization, which I think is the best in all of sports.
Byron, you've always coached and played with great emotion and love. And now you're coming back home to coach the team that you helped win championships. How emotional a day is this for you, not only become the coach, but when you see your three former teammates here? Because I noticed your eyes started to get a little watery.
You know what, Jim? I pride myself on being one of the toughest guys around and working with Buck in the weight room and all the things that we went through. I went up there and I talked to Jeannie for a little while, and we started to mention her father and my ex-boss, and I think we both got a little teary-eyed. And I don't think that I could state this any deeper, how I feel about this organization. And what I plan on bringing to the table as far as, my passion for the game and what I want to do with the team, and obviously talking to Mitch and Jim, the plans in the meetings that we had, I could see it as clear as day, what they were planning on doing, and I thought it was going to be a great idea. So I thought this was to be a perfect fit. So it's going to be hard. It's hard for me right now to kind of contain some of the things that I'm going through, but I have to. I got kids over there. I don't want them seeing, I want them to see daddy crying. I don't want my grandkids seeing daddy crying, papa crying. So I'll probably, do that a little bit later.
Byron, did the weight start to get to you at all?
Not really. You know what? I take everything in stride. Like Mitch said, we had conversations, on different occasions. And like I said, I have a lot of confidence in what I can do and what I can bring to the table. I have a lot of confidence in Jim and Jeannie and Mitch. So, I just felt they would make the right decision and the best decision. And I'm a little arrogant when it comes to that because I thought I was the best decision and the right decision. So, the waiting really didn't bother me. Like I said, the only thing that bothered me was, the questions that I would get asked every day, from fans. And that really didn't bother me. It just took it takes a toll after a little while, but the waiting didn't bother me really at all.
But now you have a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah, I got some catching up to do. I mean, again, Mitch and I will sit down. I got to put a staff together. I got to get myself familiar with the roster. So yeah, I got some work to do, but more than willing and able to get it done.
Byron, talk about the roster that you do have with Kobe and company. What are your thoughts as far as how you will compete in this Western Conference?
Well, the one thing I told Mitch and Jim our last meetings is I thought they put a roster together that will be very competitive. The main thing I have to do, right away is establish ourselves as a defensive basketball team. These three gentlemen that's just sitting in this front row, the first thing the Magic taught me when I got in this league is that, we win championships by defending every single night. That's the one thing we can control. Offense is going to come and go. You're going to miss shots, you're going to make shots, but the one thing you control every single night is your effort on the defensive end. So we have to, obviously get that back in the plans. Guys have to understand that that's what it's going to take, and they have to be held accountable for that. But I like the roster that Mitch has put together. So it's a little bit of some youth and some experienced guys, and I'm looking forward to working with them.
Byron, this team finished 22 games out of the playoffs last year. How do you get them back to the playoffs?
Well, I think the first thing you got to do is get them thinking like we used to think. Because everything to me is, if you're winning, it's contagious. If you're losing, it's contagious. So you got to change their mindset. That's the first thing we got to do. I mean, the first day of training camp is all about winning. It's nothing else. You don't think about losing. You think about winning. And when you lose games, you shouldn't be sitting in the locker room having a good time. It should hurt. So, I'm with those three gentlemen. When we lost games, it was quiet as can be in the locker room because we didn't expect to lose. We got to get our guys thinking the same way. We got to get back to winning.
Byron, we take you back to your playing days in high school in Inglewood and all the way back to
Let's not go that far back, please.
put yourself in that mindset then, and we would have said to you, you would have been a Laker with all those titles, and now you get to be the head coach. What would you have said then if we told you?
I would have said God is good. God is good. Like I said, everything that I've always kind of set out to do or dreams that I've had, I've been able to, for some reason, and it's obviously my Heavenly Father, I've been put there. I used to sneak in the Forum to watch, Jerry West and those guys play, thinking that one day I would be a Laker, and boom, I get to be a Laker. I get into coaching and start thinking about coaching and said, one day I would love to coach that purple and gold. Boom, I'm here. So that's all I can really say. God is good.
Question for Mitch. Mitch, we see Urban and Kareem and Jamal here today, and Kobe's been vocal about his support of Byron. Did you hear a lot of voices from former Lakers, current Lakers in support of Byron throughout the process?
Well, there was obviously a lot of, support. It's hard to, select a coach when he's employed by another team. So the timing has to be right. We have to not have a coach, and then the coach that you might want, has to be available. So some of those things are out of your control. But we knew early on, and yes, I've spoken to, some of these fellas up here on the front row, other Laker supporters, present, former, and from the very beginning, there was always a lot of support, for Byron to coach here. And having said that, as I said earlier, from the beginning, although we went through a long process where we interviewed a lot of candidates, we felt early on that Byron was the leader and the right choice from the beginning. And at that point, we had 3 or 4 people on our roster, and our feeling was, let's create a roster, let's get through the draft, and make sure we have the right coach. Now we could have hired a coach a month and a half ago, but at that point, now you're maybe doing things a little bit differently. So we chose to create a roster first, and our gut instinct on Byron before we did that was that he was the right coach, and obviously we feel the same way today.
Byron, did you ever talk to Jerry about coaching this team? What those conversations were?
Jerry West or Jerry Buss? No, Jerry and I never talked about me coaching the team. We talked about a little bit of everything else. Like I said, when I got let go by New Orleans, Jerry was the first to call. He asked me when I was coming home. He wanted me to come to a game. Came to a couple of games, and we stayed in contact, but never really talked about me coaching the team. He asked me my opinion of the team, but never talked about coaching the team.
Or did you ever talk to him about your dream to coach?
I never did. No.
Hey, Byron, how would you describe your relationship with Kobe going back to '96 when he was a rookie through today, and how that might impact this season as you're coaching now?
A great relationship. I mean, we get along extremely well. We talk a lot. We text each other a lot, during the season and obviously during the off season. I'm looking forward to coaching Kobe. I know his drive and I know his will and his determination. And I think we're on the same page as far as how we think about this game and how it should be played. So it's going to be, it's going to be fun. He has to be a little patient. We know that as well. But like I said, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to enjoy it.
Byron, a lot of people talk about you holding, you holding people accountable.
Mm-hmm.
But what is it you exactly do to hold someone accountable?
They don't do it, I take them out the game. It's pretty simple, Jim. You know, I mean, again, you get beat on the defensive end, and I've done this my whole career. You know, guys, they understand it. You know, you're not doing what you're supposed to do out there. There's consequences. And the only thing that you can really control with players is their minutes. That gets their attention. You know, so, you know, if you're not out there and you're not, you know, playing defense the way I think you're capable of playing or the way we should play defense, then I'm going to have to find other guys that will.
What does modern basketball allow in terms of what you guys do with Showtime going up and down the way you get that?
Well, we can't play that way. We don't have a Magic Johnson, you know, so we can't get up and down the floor, you know, a guy pushing the ball like he pushes right now. But, you know, my style is still the same. You know, like I said, first of all, defense, we gotta do that on a night-to-night basis. Offensively, we want to get up and down the floor. We want to spread the ball. Don't want it sticking, you know, as much as possible. And we want to put our players in a position to be successful.
Byron, you mentioned Kobe's going to have to be a little patient. What is the realistic timetable to turn this team around into a championship?
I don't know. Again, that's, you know, something that Mitch and Jim have been talking about. You know, we didn't really get into that, all that. You know, we talked a lot about basketball. We didn't talk about timetables and things like that. But again, we don't. At least I don't see this as a long process. You know, this is Los Angeles. It's still one of the best organizations in all the sports. Still got a ton of people that would love to play for this organization. And you got guys that are sitting in the front row that are very adamant about that, and they're advocates for this organization. So I don't think it's going to take long.
You think possibly before Kobe's contract expires?
That's putting a timetable on it. I don't think long.
So how much of a factor was the fact that Byron played for us twice in the hiring? Well, I mean, obviously it was a factor. We talked about it, and you know, we knew the support in the city would be there. You know, it's not like, you know, he's new to this. He's an experienced coach, which is something, you know, that we stated early on we wanted to acquire. Yeah, the roster, you know, was put together in the last month, but we still feel we have one of the best players in the NBA, and we've accumulated some talent. It's going to take some time to work our way through it and to figure out the best way to play. But all those were factors. Certainly getting off on a good step is a factor, and we knew that would be the case, bringing Byron back to Los Angeles.
You had success in the past in New Jersey. You won point guard play. Do you see that as important to the offensive position of this team? And can we duplicate that without necessarily having Jason Kidd?
Definitely. Like, you know, Mitch just said, we got still one of the best players in the league in Kobe Bryant. You know, so he's somebody that we have to lean on as well. But, you know, point guard position is a very, very important position in this league right now. Kobe can play the point. You know, we got Steve still and Jeremy. You know, so I think we're okay at that position. I think we're going to be in good shape. It's just, again, getting those guys acclimated to the type of offense that I want to play. Well, you know what? I don't want to put a bunch of expectations on a young fella like that. I think he has to just come in here and play. You know, he just has to come in here and play. I don't want him thinking a whole lot. Just come in here and can learn the system. And I think the sky's the limit. I mean, he's definitely very talented. To get him at 7 was a steal. I mean, the kid was probably top 3. You know, I love his attitude. I love the way he attacks the basket. I love the way he, you know, rebounds the ball. So, you know, he brings some things to the table that can definitely help us.
Is there a chance he could start at some point this season?
There's always a chance.
What do you have to do to prove to you that he should be?
He's going to have to play the other guys. It's simple as that. Power forwards, you know, he has to outplay them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It'll be a mixture of a little bit of everything that I've done so far in New Jersey, New Orleans, and Cleveland. You're trying to take advantage of any situation that you can on the offensive end, any mismatch that you can on the offensive end. You're trying to put the ball in guys who can make things happen. Like I said, the Princeton offense, you have to understand how to play the game of basketball. It's just like the triangle. A lot of similarities. So I know Kobe is very familiar with it, but there's different varieties to the Princeton offense. There's just not the triangle. It's like 5 different sets that you can call the Princeton offense. And we won't get into all of them, and we won't even try to work on all of them. But like I said, it's going to be a mixture of things that I think can make this team successful.
Byron, over the last 6 weeks or however it's been, you've been something of a holding pattern. How have you approached it? Have you looked at free agency in the draft as if this day was going to come and prepared as if this day was going to come, or did you just try to stay away from it?
Well, I didn't try to stay away from it necessarily. I just was, looking at all the moves that Jim and Mitch were making. And when we talked, they would ask me my opinion and I would give it to them. And like I said, I thought they did a great job of putting this roster together. I'm excited to work with these guys, looking forward to it. I think you're going to have a few of these guys that are on this roster that have a chip on their shoulder, which to me is a very good thing. And, you have a lot of people just real down on us right now, and I think that's something that can drive us, going into this season. So again, I'm excited about that.
Last year, you actually had a year off. 13 years before that, you were coaching every year. What, if anything, did you learn from that time off?
I learned that I needed that time off. It was good. No, you know what? At that time, you tend to try to get away from the game for a little while. But if you are really a basketball guy, if you really love this game, and you have the passion that I have for this game, you just can't stay away from it that long. You start watching a lot more games. You start, getting that feel back, wanting to be back in that saddle again. And that's where I found myself working with Time Warner, which I loved. But, I wanted to be back in that saddle. I wanted to get that, get that. I had that itch again about coaching, and teaching. And it's something that's in my blood. It's something that I enjoy doing. Relationships that you build and the bonds that you develop, over the years with some of these players are things that are priceless, So for me, after about 3 or 4 months, I started getting the itch. And then, like I said, working with Time Warner, that didn't help the itch. It just, enhanced it.
You can emphasize enough regarding the defense to kind of win the game. So how do you think Jeremy Lin going to help the Lakers with that defense keep in your system?
Well, the thing I like about Jeremy is that he's feisty, he's tough, he competes. I played against him as far as coached against him in a number of games. So I know how he is. He's a competitor. So the point guard position, in this league today on the defensive end is vital. You got to have guys they don't have to be great. They don't have to be great, one-on-one defenders, but they have to, go after you. They have to just continue to be persistent on that end of the floor. I think Jeremy is like that. And offensively, obviously, he can shoot the ball. He can push the ball up and down the floor. He gets to the basket. He's a very, very intelligent basketball player. So, again, after, coaching against him for a few years, it's going to be fun to coach him.
Byron, talk about the challenge of coaching some of your older players and what you're going to have to do to manage minutes with guys like Kobe and Steve Nash.
Well, I don't look at that as a challenge. I look at that as really in my favor. I think those guys have been in the league so long that they understand that they can't play 48 minutes a game, especially to last the whole season. So those are conversations that I'll sit down with those guys on an individual level and talk to them and tell them what I'm thinking and listen to what they're thinking, and we'll come up with a game plan and go from there. Well, in the office that I run, post players are important, very important, because I think a lot of our guys are probably going to get played one-on-one. And they get played one-on-one, they got to be able to make a move down there. So it's going to be something that we emphasize, but they also have to be a hub. You know, they also have to be able to pass the ball, set screens, they have to know how to play the game of basketball. So, you know, if we got a guy that can score down there, we're going to throw him the ball.
Previous coaches have said that you can't exactly tell Kobe what to do. You have a great relationship with him. Do you kind of share that same sentiment, or have you coached him?
No, you know, again, I just think Kobe's an unbelievable basketball player that has an unbelievable mind for the game of basketball. And I see us conversating a lot over things that we should do on the basketball court. And I don't see anything wrong with that. You know, like I said, when I came in the league and I had to play with this man over here on his side, you know, listening to him talk about the game was amazing to me, the way he saw the game. You know, so as a coach, there are certain things that I'm going to see out on the floor, and I think there are certain things that he's going to see. You know, and at times I'm going to go with some of the things that he sees. I'm going to go with some of the things that I see. So I don't think that's going to be a problem whatsoever. No, they wasn't joking. They wasn't joking. Hey, Baby B, what's going on with you? So hey, I'm Buck. What can I tell you? You know, we're gonna have conversations as well. Cap, they wasn't joking. Well, you know what? These guys are not only my great friends, but they're great basketball players, and obviously they have great basketball minds. So there's probably going to be time in the same with Mitch. You know, when I go in his office, you know, what did you see? What are you seeing? And it's no different with Irvin. It's no different with Silk. It's no different with Cap. I think when you get to the point as a coach where you think you know it all, it's time to retire. It really is. It's time to retire. I don't think I'm there yet. I think I have a lot to learn. Even though I've been doing this 13, 14 years, I still think every day I can get better. And why not, you know, lean on some of the guys that I feel can help me get better, and that's these guys right here. No. No. You know, you got to understand, though, in Jersey and in Cleveland, New Orleans, I have more rings than everybody in the organization. These guys, you know, they got way more rings than I do, so it's easy to listen to them. You know, it's kind of hard when, you know, when the guys in the organization haven't been to a finals, or haven't won anything, you know, for them to kind of tell you how to get there when I've been there. You know, these guys all here have been there multiple times and won multiple championships. So, you know, as I tell players today, you know, I don't have players do anything that we didn't do back in the day on the basketball floor. And that stays the same. No, again, that's something that Mitch and I will sit down and talk about.
Byron, is there any added pressure for the Clippers being crosstown rival? Do you see any of that taking LA back to the Clippers?
I don't think LA has gone to the Clippers yet anyway. This is still Laker town, period. But does it make for a great rivalry? Yes. And I love that about it, that we have two teams now, you know, one that has about 17 banners and one that doesn't have any yet. But, you know, the rivalry is getting pretty good, you know, but this is still Laker town.
Byron, I'm curious, when you got word that you were coming officially, what did you say to your wife that night about coming home and being here?
Well, at the time I was in the Bahamas when I got the word. I was vacationing, and really just told all my family members that, you know, the deal wasn't done, but we were close. And once it got done, I would let them all know, and then we would all celebrate.
Byron, talk about the reaction of all the fans that you come into contact with that, you know, giving you a vote of confidence. So, what will that inspire you as a coach of the Lakers to bring to the football?
Well, the fans have been unbelievable. You know, everywhere I've been here in Los Angeles, the fans have been very supportive. You know, and you could tell they are true blue, purple and gold fans. And it means a great deal to me, and I know it does to Mitch and Jim as well, that our fans are so hyped up about this as I am. But it also means to me that, you know, I want to do everything in my power not to let them down. Not only the fans, but like I said earlier, you know, Jim and Jeannie and Mitch have showed a lot of trust in me, you know, by allowing me to coach this team and this organization. So, you know, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure this is successful.